So I know I'm hella late on this, considering that Season 6 is over for 3 or 4 weeks now, I think. But this is the final hiatus for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ever, since Season 7 will be the final season, so I thought it'd be fun to rank all 6 seasons up to date. Now I want to preface this by saying that I actually do enjoy and like every single season. There's no season that I hate or I think was a noticeable downgrade. Every season I've gotten some pretty good enjoyment out of. I just like some more than others, and there will be some very light spoilers I want to say for every season. I won't dig into like huge twists and all that, but there will be a couple minor spoilers. So yeah, let's get into this.
People fantasize about doing something heroic in times like these. But I'd save your own skin.
We didn't come this far to give up.
I've been hunting your kind my entire life. There's no use hiding. We'll always find you.
This is the end of the road.
I can't leave you.
How do we stop this?
You really think you can beat me?
So in final place, or 6th place, I have the most recent season, Season 6. Now this might shock a lot of people, which is understandable, because Season 6 was probably the most expensive, or maybe the best looking season yet. The budget had a very noticeable increase, the CGI was great, the acting was top notch. I just didn't dig the story that much. The overall plot of the season just was a little underwhelming and boring, and the things I liked the most about the season were the B-plots. A problem, or a highlight of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is that every single season, up until Season 6, had multiple main story arcs. So if you didn't like one story arc, it was really easy to latch or grab onto a different story arc and like that one, because the storylines would normally be so vastly different that there'd be something for everyone in a season. Season 6 was different though, because it was a shortened season. It was very much one storyline, and the entire season was focused around that. Even the B-plots were servicing the main storyline, rather than normally where there's 3 storylines that are pretty much divergent for the whole season up until the end of the season itself. Season 6 didn't do that, and I think it really felt that, because I found myself bored most of the time watching this season. Some episodes were standout, like episode 6, which was the Fitzsimmons-based episode, but overall I just didn't really like a lot of what they did. It also definitely... The show was taking a lot of stakes away, I feel like. I feel like since Season 4, the show has been scared, or at least nervous about killing off characters, because they seem to bring back characters all the time. Like in Season 6, Coulson, this is like the 4th time we've had Coulson die and come back, and they did the same with Fitz. They even did this with Daisy. In Season 6, they also did fake outs with May and Yo-Yo, where they're gonna die, but then they don't. The show just... It feels like it's getting nervous and doesn't want to shake things up. It was still an enjoyable season, still a lot to like about it. I just think it wasn't near as good as the previous seasons.
And for Agent Ward.
Strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement, and Logistics Division.
And what does that mean to you?
Means someone really wanted our initials to spell out S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm clearance level 6. I know that Agent Coulson was killed in action before the Battle of New York.
Welcome to level 7.
In 5th place, I have Season 1. Now, I think this season is a season that will be at the bottom of a lot of people's lists, and it's understandable. The first 15 episodes are very, very slow, procedural. They're very old-style TV. Like, they're very episodic. There's not a lot of... I guess... It isn't fast-paced, and it isn't near as enjoyable as the show becomes later on. But I still think there's a lot to love in those first 15 episodes. I think they're very enjoyable, and if you have only seen Season 1 once, I think you should definitely rewatch the season, because it really does benefit from a rewatch. There's a lot of little hints about what Ward will become, about certain characters, where they go, and it's just really cool to see the characters back then, see how different they were. Fitz is a completely different character. Ward is a completely different character. And this is one of the shows I think is some of the best character arcs I've seen in any show ever. And it really shows when you go back to Season 1. I actually think most TV shows benefit from getting from the early seasons getting rewatched. Like if you binge a whole season from Season 1 to Season 6 or Season 7 to wherever it ends, I think you forget a lot of the important things for Season 1 and 2 because you're busy kind of remembering characters, remembering storylines, so it definitely benefits to go back and rewatch early seasons, and I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a season that, or is a show that does benefit from those early rewatches. But like even without those first 15 episodes, episodes 16 to 22, which is the Hydra arc or the Winter Soldier arc, is still top tier Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and still one of the best things to ever come out of the MCU.
You'll all get what you deserve. They brought someone back.
Hive could create a virus that transforms any humans into sweet inhumans.
I'll shed this host and take you.
In fourth place, I have Season 3. Now, Season 3 for a long time was above Season 2 for me. And I don't know, when I was rewatching the season before I finished Season 6, or rewatching the whole show, I just found that I don't like Season 3 as much as the other seasons. The seasons that are above Season 3. There's definitely a come down, I feel like. The first 10 episodes are great. I think that they're really good, the whole Ward stuff, the Hive stuff and all that. But once the show starts digging into Hive, it does come down slightly. The final couple episodes are really good, but there's a middle spot there where the show just kind of lags for a while. And it's still enjoyable, but it does some questionable things. It also, on rewatches, it's kind of a little bit more frustrating, because watching live when Bobby and Hunter left the show, it was kind of exciting, because you knew that they were going to a new show. You knew that Most Wanted was going to happen, and that we would see them again pretty soon in a show that will probably cross over with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a lot. But the fact that Bobby and Hunter basically went nowhere after they left the show, Hunter came back once since, Bobby hasn't come back at all, it makes rewatching those episodes a little bit frustrating, because you know that nothing comes of them. And this season does that a lot. The season was a very big transition period for the show, I feel like. Season 2 was still pretty lighthearted, and Season 4 was the darkest season yet. So this season was kind of that transition period between the lighthearted show and the darkness of that the show became. Still good, just it felt like it didn't know what it wanted to be a lot of the time.
We'll never get ahead of the consequences that you, the S.H.I.E.L.D. have set in motion.
Like a ripple in the water.
This ripple won't fade. It'll grow and grow until it's a tidal wave.
In third place, I have Season 2. Season 2 gets overlooked a lot, I feel like. I feel like this is an underrated season. Because the fact that Winter Soldier had such a huge impact on the show, people kind of overlook how big of an impact Age of Ultron had in the show as well. A big deal of the back half of Season 2 is all about setting up Age of Ultron, secrecy kind of stuff, like the secret projects Coulson is working on is actually for Age of Ultron. And Age of Ultron, the final battle of Sokovia with Fury and the helicarrier and all that, that's all Coulson, and it's kind of cool to see that. I feel like the movie and the season complement each other very well. I also really liked the real S.H.I.E.L.D. arc. It made sense that there wasn't just one S.H.I.E.L.D. after the government of S.H.I.E.L.D. fell. It makes sense that S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't just splinter down into one more group. It makes sense they would have splintered off into a couple different groups, all of which think they're doing the right thing. And it was very interesting with Gonzalez's group thinking that he was the real S.H.I.E.L.D. Because he thought Fury gone, he thought Hill was gone, but no, they're still around. They're on Coulson's side. It's just a really interesting dynamic. I also thought that the first half of the season was also really great with the Daniel Whitehall stuff and the Hydra stuff. It was really cool seeing Hydra in the direct aftermath of Winter Soldier. It was really cool seeing S.H.I.E.L.D. in the direct aftermath of Winter Soldier. And this is still a very lighthearted season. While it had some dark stuff, I think it worked very well. It wasn't as lighthearted as Season 1, but it wasn't as dark as what came later. And this season also gave us people like Mac, Hunter, Bobby, just a bunch of characters, and just a bunch of things that ended up defining where the show would go from this point on.
What the hell's going on?
We're in space.
See, one thing we haven't done yet.
Any idea what that is?
Have you ever seen an alien movie?
In second place, I have Season 5. And this was a phenomenal season, I thought. I did think this was my favorite season for a while until rewatching Season 4. There's just, kind of like Season 3, I feel like this season lags a little bit in the middle part, and also the 100th was a little bit underwhelming, considering that it ended up not really being a celebration of the show itself, and more so just a celebration of Coulson, I guess. But the whole Future Lighthouse arc, just all of that stuff was brilliant. It was such a departure from what we've seen before, and it was a very unique season. The space stuff, the end of the world coming, it was amazing. The show also was written as a final season because they didn't know if they were going to get renewed. Like every season, they didn't know if they were going to get renewed up until season 6. But this was the worst place the show had been in. It was getting the worst ratings it had gotten. It took Disney stepping in for the show to get saved. But just seeing the Future Lighthouse arc, the end of the world coming, tying in so many plot lines that have been left over from like season 1, season 2 and stuff like that. Talbot becoming one of the best characters on the show, I thought, this season. He was really good before this, but this season really lifted him up. We also got huge things with the Kree and a bunch of cool stuff like that. This also was the first season that felt very that felt like a huge departure from the movies, which is a good thing. It felt like S.H.I.E.L.D. was really coming into its own and really defining itself as something that didn't need the movies to stand up on. I thought it was a great season. I really enjoyed it. But in first place,
I begged the universe, I begged anyone who would listen that you be spared. Then I heard a voice. Whatever was inside him, he passed it into me. Ghost Rider.
You don't get to decide who deserves to die.
I'm not the one who decides.
Come on, girl. That's way too crazy a story to make up.
I have season 4, which was just a perfect season. Ghost Rider arc itself was great. Then the LMD arc was amazing, and then the Agents of Hydra arc was phenomenal. And it made every arc just a little bit bigger than the one that came before, and every arc just that much better than what came before. Agents of Hydra was basically a better version of the Flash's version of Flashpoint. It was crazy what they were able to do with this season, and it's crazy as well because this season was also in danger of cancellation, but they didn't let that slow them down. They told the story they wanted to tell, they did the things they wanted to do, and I think season 4 really solidified Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as one of the greatest things to come out of the MCU, even slightly better than Daredevil in my opinion. But yeah, that's how I would rank all 6 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. How would you rank them? And please let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and all that. And if you have any ideas for Marvel or DC videos you would like me to do, please let me know, and I would love to see them and make them. And I hope you have an awesome day.